Welcome back to the Blueprint Briefing. I am your host, Marcus Xavier. Today, we are deconstructing a massive paradigm shift in digital media, a case study that sits at the volatile intersection of culture, contemporary history, and the economics of influence. We are looking at the trajectory of the Hodge twins, once hailed as the GOATs, the greatest of all time within the YouTube fitness and comedy spheres. These two figures have undergone a transformation that has left the digital landscape deeply divided. Historically, their foundation was built on the support of the Black community, with estimates suggesting that at least 80% of their early following identified as Black. Today, however, we see a profound fall from grace as they have pivoted from fitness icons to controversial conservative commentators. But this isn't just about a change in content. It's about the historical and linguistic blueprints behind the pivot. Let's dive in. To truly analyze this story, we must look at the linguistic shifts in their reporting. In professional journalism, language is the primary tool for objectivity. Yet, critics have identified a disturbing pattern in how the Hodge twins frame narratives based on racial identity. Data indicates a stark contrast. When reporting on crimes involving white individuals, the duo frequently employs honorifics like sir, ma'am, and miss. In contrast, when the subjects are persons of color, the rhetoric often shifts towards stereotypes and derogatory framing. We see this in their digital thumbnails, which often utilize sensationalist, all-caps headlines such as Black Riot, even though statistical evidence shows that approximately 97% of movements like Black Lives Matter were nonviolent. Analysts argue this is a calculated transition from the culture to a caricature by utilizing what some call Black buffoonery. The very cultural tropes they once leaned on for comedy, they are now seen as criticizing the community that facilitated their initial rise to power. Now, let's get into the contemporary history and the facts. One of the most significant arguments made by the Hodge twins involves a form of historical revisionism. During a recent debate, one of the twins attempted to mitigate the historical impact of American slavery by asserting that whites were slaves too. As an educational briefing, we must correct the record with historical facts. In American history, white individuals were predominantly indentured servants, not chattel slaves. These were legal contracts, typically lasting 4 to 7 years. Upon completion, these individuals were frequently granted land and the legal right to purchase their own slaves. Chattel slavery, experienced by Black people, was a fundamentally different system. It was lifelong and hereditary. To equate the two is not only disingenuous, it is historically inaccurate. This rhetoric is viewed by analysts as a calculated narrative intended to provide comfort to a new demographic by minimizing systemic trauma. A core argument in modern politics, and one frequently echoed by the twins, is the dismissal of systemic racism. They often ask what laws currently exist that restrict Black people. To answer this, we look at the monopoly analogy, a powerful socioeconomic tool used by historians. Imagine a game of Monopoly where, for the first several rounds, Player 1, representing the white majority, receives $1,000 for every lap, while Player 2, representing the Black community, receives nothing or is actively taxed. By the time the rules are made equal, and Player 2 is allowed to earn money, Player 1 has already used their accumulated capital to buy Boardwalk and Park Place. Even if you give both players $100 now, the system is rigged. Player 1 has the wealth, the property, and the liquidity to exit jail, the legal system, by simply paying a fee. This illustrates how historical inequities impact our daily lives today. It's not just about current laws, but about the enduring impact of a rigged start. So, what is the reasoning behind this argument? Why would two icons pivot so drastically? The answer, according to socioeconomic analysts, is economic incentive. The transition into anti-Black content is described by critics as a highly profitable endeavor. There is a substantial market for minority voices who validate the biases of a conservative base. However, this profit comes with a loss of intellectual freedom. Unlike creators who challenge their audience, Analysts argue the Hodge twins are now one comment away from being cancelled by their new base if they deviate from the script. They have boxed themselves into a corner where they must continue to emulate caricatures to maintain their revenue. Consider this analogy. A celebrated local architect gains fame by designing beautiful, affordable housing in his home city. After achieving wealth, he moves to a gated community and begins designing walls to keep his former neighbors out, telling his new clients his old city was poorly built. He is wealthier than ever, but he has destroyed the very foundation upon which his reputation was built. The story of the Hodge twins is a cautionary tale of legacy versus currency. They have traded their status as pioneers for the role of political caricatures, alienating the very audience that once championed them. To understand the rules of the present, we must have an honest analysis of the rules of the past. This has been the Blueprint Briefing. I am Marcus Xavier. Stay informed, stay objective, and always look at the blueprint.